Welcome to day 635 of our Web3 journey. I'm Ed Krasenstein here with my twin brother Brian, and we have a special guest with us today. You know her as SmartGirlCredit on Deso. Her name is Miko. How's it going, Miko? Glad to have you on the show.
Great. It's going wonderful. Glad to be here.
So we're going to go through the news, get some input from Miko as we do that, and then we'll get to what you're doing on Deso, how you found Deso, and kind of just chit chat a little bit.
Sounds great.
So Brian, what's going on with Elon Musk? You know, we always have this daily Elon Musk drama. What's the latest?
Yeah, I think we talk a lot about Elon and Twitter because there is potential that Twitter could adopt some elements of Web3 in the future. I know Elon has spoken about it in the past. So it's always nice to see what's happening. And I think the biggest news is that Elon made it official that he does plan to resign as CEO. He tweeted yesterday, "I will resign as CEO as soon as I find somebody foolish enough to take the job. After that, I will just run the software and servers teams." I mean, technically, I guess he could just say, "I can't find anybody," and just stay on however long he wants. My guess, though, is that he does actually plan to step down as CEO and heading up this software and servers team. I think that's something more. I probably requires less of his time, but he can make the most impact. Um, I I also think that what's best for the platform is that he maybe steps away a little bit. Probably also best for Tesla, his other company, SpaceX. I'm sure he's spending a lot of time right now. I think maybe his political rhetoric has gotten a little bit in the way of not only Twitter's success, but also that of Tesla. And as much as I disagree with staying silent on the issues you believe in, I think when one's opinion can alienate a significant part of your user base, I think it's certainly going to impact business. So, like, I think it's a better solution than him just stepping away would just be stop tweeting political views. I think it would piss off less people, and he could then kind of spend more time doing what he wants to do as CEO. But whatever happens here, I think that Twitter is going to be changing a lot, for better or for worse. I don't know. But I don't necessarily think Elon is a net negative. I just think that some of his rhetoric can alienate some people.
Yeah, and you know, he said he's going to resign, and he said as soon as he can find somebody who's willing to take the job. I'm pretty sure there's plenty of people out there who would love to be the CEO of Twitter right now. So I don't know if I believe that 100%. I think maybe he wants to find somebody who he thinks would be right for the job, and he's not going to hire somebody until he finds that person. I mean, it makes sense given that it's his company.
Right.
Uh, what are your thoughts, Miko? Like, are you a Twitter user? Have you been on Twitter?
I haven't been a very big Twitter user, but now that I'm on Deso, I am a big Twitter user. I'm starting out. But from my background is in PR. So I kind of don't want him to step down because from a PR standpoint, I mean, you just never know what he's going to say.
That's true.
And it keeps Twitter top of mind. Like everybody is talking about Twitter. Everyone is following Elon. And for me, it's just so much fun to see like what is his next step. And I really think that by everything that he's saying, he's actually making a case for decentralized social. So like what he's doing is actually helping.
I
Yeah, those are good
agree. I
points.
agree.
Yeah.
So, so,
Um,
so let's move on to the Deso blockchain. And yesterday we talked a lot about missing transactions on chain. There are mempool issues. Thousands of transactions were lost in just 24 hours. Nader did make a reply to what was going on. He made a post yesterday, and I'm just going to touch on some of the things he said. He said, quote, "Importantly, if something gets mined into a block, then it's pretty much final. We've never had a block reverted. The issue is that in between, when a transaction is submitted and when that transaction is mined into a block, it could be lost by the network. Blocks take about 5 minutes to mine, so 99.999% of the time, your transactions are good to go after 5 minutes. And the problem is that 0.001% of the time, blocks take a while to mine, or something happens where nodes get out of sync and the transactions that one node mines into a block become incompatible with some transactions created on other nodes. Unfortunately, until we're able to ship our big proof of stake upgrade, which we're aiming to do in Q1 of 2023, this 0.001% chance will be hard to get rid of. On the bright side, the proof of stake upgrade will make it so that transactions are confirmed within 3 seconds rather than 5 minutes, meaning that the risk that conflicting transactions will revert one another will go to virtually zero, and this kind of thing should never happen from there on out. I think those estimates are a little low as of late. He says 0.001% of transactions are that's the number that aren't going through. And over the last couple of days, I think a much higher percentage of transactions have not been going through. I know Stargazer made a reply to this, Brian, and he showed that I think over 10,000 transactions in the last 24 hours didn't go through.
Yeah, so he made this post. He said that there's 10,950 transactions impacting 782 different Deso users. These transactions were lost, and this was in the last 24 hours. So I definitely think it's way more than 0.001%, which would be
so I just want to cut in right here. So according to Open Prosper, yesterday there were 66,000 transactions. So according to these stats, if Stargazer's statistics are right, that means over 1/6 of transactions did not go through, which is much higher than the 0.001%. It's more like what's 1/6, almost 0.2%, 0.18%, I guess. I mean, 18%. I'm sorry, 18% of transactions.
Yeah, and 0.001% would be 1 out of 100,000 transactions. So obviously it's a little bit worse than that. I don't know if something's going on that's kind of going under the radar. It seems to be mostly on non-core nodes. So maybe it's something that Nader's missing. It's kind of cool though that Stargazer is monitoring this stuff. He's using a $25 Raspberry Pi and less than 300 lines of code. And basically what he's doing is collecting mempool transactions from Desocial World, Diamond, Deso, Love for Source, and NFTZ. And yesterday, Stargazer himself had 4,856 transactions lost. Sean Slater, for instance, had 1,850 lost. Elric Ericos had 627 lost, including 12 NFT transfers and 25 replies. Hippie Kitties had 297 transactions lost. He posted a whole list, and even Nader had 1 transaction lost. I think we had one diamond transaction lost. So it's still a problem. Hopefully they can figure it out.
I have a question.
Sure.
When you say transaction loss, what exactly does that mean? Does it mean that they're never going to get it back, or?
Yeah. So I mean, I could explain this quickly. So every time you do a transaction, whether it be a like, a diamond, a reply, a comment, a post, NFT transfer, an NFT bid, those are all transactions. So when you make that transaction, it goes into something called the mempool, which is basically temporary storage before it gets written to the blockchain. And if one node's transactions don't match the transactions on this other node, they don't actually go to the blockchain. So they do get lost and you don't get them back. You're not losing money, you're just losing that action. If that action costs you money, you're getting that money back if it's lost.
Gotcha. Oh, I see.
So I mean, it is a problem, and it's something that I think needs to be addressed. I feel like Nader is missing how big this issue is, unless, the community's completely thinking something's happening that isn't, which I don't think is the case. But it's something that needs to be fixed, I think.
Yeah, so what's happening with High Key?
Yeah, so High Key divulged some interesting information yesterday. In a post that they made, they said that they are super bullish on Deso, and it's because of the reserved celebrity and high-profile creator coins. They also said that they know for a fact, they didn't say for a fact, but they said they know that Kim Kardashian and Katy Perry have both spoken to Nader. And they also, of course, High Key themselves have spoken to a lot of big names. They work with a lot of big names to bring them onto Deso. So, I mean, I think that's really encouraging, seeing the fact that Nader has had conversations with these individuals, and also seeing that high key one of the original OGs are so bullish, I think is a good sign. They also said they're super excited about Creator Coins version 2 that's supposedly coming in 2023, and we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, I think that the Kim Kardashian, Katy Perry news, I think that probably happened way back when things were rolling out last March or around that time period. So I wouldn't get too excited about that. Uh, but I do think that a new version of Creator Coins next year could have a significant impact. And maybe some of these people that Nader spoke to back last year will kind of find Deso and start using it if Creator Coin version 2.0 is something that's different than Creator Coin 1.0 in a good way.
So Miko, do you use Creator Coins? Have you gotten into that at all?
I have purchased several people's creator coins. I was first introduced to it by someone on Deso. I think his handle is F Tanix. He was
Yeah.
telling me about it. And I didn't understand it at first, but he was like, you should buy some of your own creator coin while it's still low before it gets really, really high. And I didn't understand why, but he said do it, so I did it. And so after that, because he gave me that information, I bought some of his coin just to say thank you for giving me that information.
Yeah, it's definitely different ideas of how to deal with Creator Coins, and it's kind of evolved since the start when a lot of people weren't buying their own Creator Coin, and then others were rug pulling them.
Yeah.
It goes back quite some time. I do think it's a good idea to buy your own Creator Coin, but that's just my opinion. Others might say, you don't need to own your own Creator Coin, but yeah, that's a discussion for another day, I think. So Deso OG Michelle Lord has teased some new photography by NFT photography by Michelle NFTs, her mannequin art. Soon coming to Deso this week will be a new drop. It's going to be via NFTZ on Deso, and it's going to be a combination of her photography and audio. And you can actually check it out pre-mint right now on her GD Virtual Gallery. You can see a link above this video on Deso below and on YouTube, and you can check it out now. Love what Michelle's doing. I love her photography. I love how she's now going to integrate audio with her photography to make a really cool NFT.
Yeah, I love this. And of course, NFTZ has a lot of new audio features, so this is going to play well with NFTZ. How about Sid XO? What's he doing?
Yeah, so Sid XO, he came over from the whale community thanks to Whale Shark ETH, and he is an amazing artist. He created a really interesting NFT. It's an animated trading card NFT, and he gave 21 of these away to his creator coin holders, which I think is a really cool idea. It's a neat trading card, custom design, and 21 people got it for free.
Yeah, really cool.
I have a
So,
question
yeah.
about NFTs. Like, I'm not an artist. So can artists, people like me who are non-artists, can they also take advantage of NFTZ?
Yeah, so I mean, NFTs don't have to be art. I mean, that's kind of what people think of when they think of NFTs. They think of like profile picture art, or they just think of art in general as JPEGs. But we just launched music NFTs, but they can also, basically audio NFTs. So if you have a podcast and you want to sell that as an NFT, that's possible. There's all different types of things. People can use NFTs as a ticket to an event, a subscription model they could use, or maybe if you own my NFT, you get some sort of bonus where maybe you'll speak to them. Whale Shark ETH actually did this, where each NFT he sells is good for a 10-minute segment of his time on the phone. And if you collect 3 of them, that's 30 minutes, and you can have a 30-minute Zoom call or whatever, however you want to do it. So there's really all kinds of ideas you can use. I think as we move forward the next probably few years, I think utility NFTs are going to be more of a thing than the art part of it. And by utility, I mean just they can be used as something, you get something for them.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think there's gonna be a point where all these PFP NFTs, these profile picture NFTs that are just mass produced, the supply is just gonna be so great that the demand's just going to not be there for them. I think we already started seeing that happen. So I think NFTs are going to evolve, and they're going to evolve into being more, like Brian said, utility based driven. And I mean, of course, we had to wait and see, but we'll just have to wait and see to see what happens with that. So let's get to you, Miko, SmartGirlCredit. When did you get started on Deso, and what brought you on board? I'm curious.
I started on Deso earlier this year, around May of, well, actually, yeah, I would say around May. At the time, I was working full time at my job. I had been there for 28 years.
Wow.
I was a loyal government employee. And during the pandemic, as soon as the pandemic started, my supervisor started to harass me and bully me. And it was just back and forth. And it went on for almost 2 years.
Wow.
And I got so burnt out and just depressed, and all these terrible things that a person goes through when they're, not treated well. And so I was looking for an exit, a way that I could make money for myself and get out of the 9 to 5. And I kind of look back on that time as a blessing in disguise, because I kind of feel like that was the universe saying, Miko, it's time for you to go. It's time for you to pursue what you know that you are capable of doing. So I started reading everything about Web3. And at first, I was so interested in NFTs. I just love the fact that they could be used for so many different ways, even though I'm like, I'm not an artist. I wish I was an artist, but like you guys mentioned, there are other ways that you can use NFTs. But then I started reading about blockchains, and I came across the Deso blockchain. And I was like, wow, this is such an amazing blockchain. I just love the fact that there's so many different apps that are built on it. And then you don't have to create a new username for each platform, but that it goes to every app automatically. I just fell in love with that. And then I learned that just by posting, just by being yourself, you can create an income. And so I just started talking about that, and that's what my newsletter is about.
Yeah, I want to learn more about the newsletter. You're writing this on Deso? Where are you writing this?
Yeah, I'm writing it on Deso, but I make sure that I put it out there in other places. So I write on LinkedIn, I write on Medium, I write on Hacker Noon, I write on Indie Hackers, all the same information, just trying to get it out there so more people can learn about Deso.
Yeah, I think that's a good strategy, and that's something we do too. Like if we make a post on Deso, sometimes we'll share the same post on LinkedIn. Like just use that asset you just created to kind of branch out. And I think now that Deso is still a small platform, a small protocol, it makes a lot of sense. So like you're not, if you don't get a ton of engagement on Deso, it's not the end of the world because you're using it elsewhere as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's something we've done is sometimes we take these videos, we cut out the beginning portion where we talk about Twitter, and we just post that spot on Twitter, and then we use the rest of the video on Deso. But eventually, I guess we'll try and include the entire video on Twitter, as long as Elon Musk doesn't start banning Deso from being talked about. Wait and see.
Exactly. You just never know with him. That's why I just think him being there, it's just so exciting. It's just because you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, for sure.
So have you purchased any NFTs, or are you mostly just a power user where you post and just comment on threads?
I have posted. I mean, I have purchased a few NFTs. I love the ones that I think I'm not sure who I bought it from, but it's like it looks like a trading card, and it's like it's going around and it's moving. I just love those NFTs that move. I just think they're just so beautiful. So I would love to one day make one of those myself. But I haven't. I'm not a power purchaser in that I actually go out to like other places and buy NFTs.
Yeah, like when we first got into NFTs, this was before Deso, probably super early 2021, like January. Like that's the one thing that really stood out, like animated NFTs, because with art, you can't have a painting that's animated on your wall, but with an NFT, it can be animated. So that's the kind of thing that differentiates it from actual physical art. And you can always put it on your wall in a photo frame and have this animation. So it's just something that stood out to us as well.
It's funny. It's funny because I remember a conversation I had with Whale Shark ETH before the days of DSO. And I was in a clubhouse room with him. He was in there, he was on stage, like he was the expert in the room, and people were just asking him questions. People were shilling their NFTs to him. And I asked him, what's the one thing you look for in NFTs the most? And his answer was he likes NFTs that incorporate animation into them because that's something you can't do with physical art. You can only do it with digital art. So that was one of his big things that he was really looking for. I'm sorry for cutting you off, Miko.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's just something about that animation that it really draws you in. It really it's beautiful. Yeah.
So do you have any future plans for DISA? Like what are you looking forward to in the next year in 2023? Are there any projects you're going to launch, or are you just going to continue doing what you're doing and hope to expand that?
Well, right now my focus is on just writing the newsletter and being committed to doing that every single day. I got my inspiration from you guys because you are consistent. You do it every single day. So I'm like, okay, writing is my first love. So I'm gonna do that and write something about DSO every day. And then I actually just started uh live streaming. So my goal is to do a live stream about the information that I'm writing about DSO next year as well. And
That's
then
awesome.
yeah, and then I'm also working on a course to help onboard people to DSO who are in web 2 right now.
Yes,
Oh,
and for
that's great.
those of you who are interested in Miko and what she's doing, you can just go to her DSO profile. It's just SmartGirlCredit, and on there she has a link to her daily DSO newsletter. She has a link to her social profiles on Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. She also has a link to her live streaming account if you want to listen in on that. So definitely check out Miko's profile. Give her a follow on DSO. She's a power user and somebody who's worth following.
Yeah, and before we let you go, is there anything we missed, or what do you have any advice for people who are just joining DSO and trying to get around it?
My advice is to jump in wholeheartedly. One thing I really love about the DSO community is everyone is so welcoming. Everyone is really helpful. I was on DSO one day and someone sent me a message saying like, don't follow this account because the account was fake or something. And I was just I told the person thank you very much, and I gave him some diamonds just for being so kind and just looking out for me. And that's the way it is with everybody who is on DSO. Everyone that I've come in contact with has been just great.
Yeah, I agree. Twitter versus DSO, it's like night and day.
So true.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, moving on, just want to touch on some of the NFT auctions that are ending today in the next 24 hours on nftz.me. Art2Z has more of his Deso Demon NFTs ending today. Deso Radio Art has some of his or her animated radio art NFTs that also end today. And Founder 5, or I guess it's Founders with a 0, 3, and 5 in it, has one of their AI NFTs ending today. It's a cross mint project on Deso and Foundation.app. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I want to quickly get to the top bidders of NFTs on the Deso blockchain in the last day, according to NFTZ. They are as follows: Slicer Rabbit, Boxer XXX, Shady Acres, Studio Richards, Leo J, Minio, Crypto Junkie, G Funk 1019, La Big Mac, and Mir Kili. And the top diamonded creators over the last 24 hours, thanks to our friends at Alton Base for this list. These people received the most diamonds or tips on their posts and replies on Deso in the last 24 hours. Shady Acres, followed by Zoran, Skin Lover, Cold Lux, Clout Women Unite, High Key, Viper 444, Disruptpreneur, Randier, and Goldberry.
Congratulations. And thanks for coming on our show, Miko. You're welcome to come back anytime you'd like. It was a pleasure talking with you.
Awesome. Yeah, I would love to come back. Thank you so much for being so kind.
And everybody else, have a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.